Of all the tools you use in business, nothing gets information across faster than long distance. Long distance gives you an interchange of ideas and gets things flowing back and forth. Long distance gives you control, gives you a feel for the situation, and lets you react immediately. Every day, businessmen make over 1 million long-distance calls because long distance means business.
Well, this is a repeat situation for Steve Shutt of the Montreal Canadiens as well, who started playing last night's game and then finished it, watching the overtime with great anxiety, I'm sure, and now it's happening again, Steve. I'm sure that it wasn't in your mind when the Canadiens were ahead 4-0 that you'd still be here and your teammates would still be in uniform.
Well, it's rather surprising, but you know, we always, whenever we get into trouble, is, you know, I think it's when we do have a big lead and we try and sit back on it, and we can't play that way because we don't really have that many defensive players. You know, we have offensive players, and we have to keep going, you know, for the fourth goal and then go for the fifth one, and we stopped doing that, and that's what happened.
Of course, there might be a reason for a relaxation, if we can call it that, whether it be conscious or not. Players such as yourself are injured, and you know, these guys have to be tired after a while, and if you got a 4-goal lead, maybe you just can't drive yourself as much as you'd like to get that fifth.
Well, you know, that's one of the big keys of our team. That's what we thrive on doing that. We have to do that, and it doesn't matter who's really in the lineup. Whoever else comes in is also a pretty good hockey player too, and he should be able to fill in there and do a good job.
You've convinced me. I won't start
PR.
No more excuses for the Canadiens. Well, let's talk about all the injuries and yours specifically. It's a Charlie horse. You limped in here rather badly, but you tell me this may be the last game you missed.
Well, it's I was in the corner. I think it was the middle of the overtime period, and Sittler came up behind me and hit me, and I didn't really see him coming, so I wasn't prepared for it, and I did get a Charlie horse. And with a Charlie horse, it's nothing really serious, but it just, you know, tightens up your leg for a couple days, and that makes it pretty tough to skate or to walk.
And when I asked you whether you would be able to play on Tuesday, you gave me a party line look like, what makes you think there's going to be a game on Tuesday?
We'll have to see how this one goes first.
How about the other players? If we could talk about Jarvis, Gould, Tremblay, and Napier, who would be the most seriously injured of that quartet?
I think probably Houle. You know, he's had pulled stomach muscles, and he's been out about 3 weeks with that before, and then he played one game, and it happened again. And so he's very indefinite. Nobody knows when he's going to come back. But as far as Tremblay and Jarvis, you know, Jarvis was going to play tonight, and Mario could be any day also.
Steve, I heard an interesting quote of yours after the second game of the series. You looked back on the time between the end of the regular season and the first playoff game and said that you were a little scared on behalf of the team, that the loss of first place and the fact that, you know, you're playing an arch rival, Toronto, until the series got underway, you had a very uneasy feeling. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, I think it's, you know, the week of waiting, and it's very... it's tough. You know, you can really practice all you want, but you know, you're not as sharp as you are when you're playing. And we knew we were going to play Toronto, and we knew how that they come up and they play really well in the playoffs. And it just, you know, you always have an uneasy feeling going in against a team that's been playing for the last week, and you've had a week-long layoff, and you just don't know how it can affect either team.
As you look back on your own season, not too many players in this league are going to be disappointed with a 37-goal season, but of course you've done better, a whole lot better in other seasons. Would disappointment be an accurate word, or when you did start to score later in the season, did that remove any of those feelings you might have had?
Well, I started off, I didn't really, went after one of my patented slow starts, and I just started going, and then I cracked my wrist, and so I was out for 8 games, and I played 2 games with a cast, and that was a mistake. And there was a couple other games that I only lasted about 1 shift and I got hurt. So I think I missed 12 or 13 games altogether. So it's, you know, it's not too bad considering I've missed that many games.
Well, whether it be Tuesday or Thursday or Saturday or Sunday or whatever, We hope to see you back in the Canadiens lineup as soon as possible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Steve Shutt for spending some intermission time with us. Stanley Cup 79 will continue in just a moment.
This is Varipel. With the exclusive Envirosol system, the exterior wood preservative that's so effective, you can think of it as wood insurance. Here's proof. We soak 2 pieces of wood in water for 24 hours. Then we bake them at 225 degrees for 1 hour. After all this, the wood treated with Varipel is still protected. That's wood insurance. That's the Envirosol system. Here's how it works. The Envirosol system opens up the cell walls of the wood fiber, allowing Varipel to penetrate deep into the wood. When it dries, the Varipel is embedded deep in the cell walls. This stabilizes the wood, preventing it from expanding or contracting, so it resists peeling, cracking, or blistering. And Varipel contains a fungicide to protect against mildew and dry rot. Protect your investment. Get Varipel and get yourself some wood insurance.
Flecto, when you want to do it right.
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
I love to take to the open air in my 79 Thunderbird. It's one magnificent flying machine. Luxurious cockpit with V8 power, power steering, power brakes, automatic transmission, all standard. And if you choose the T-roof, you can have all this and heaven too. 79 Thunderbird, what a way to fly. It's on the runway at your Ford dealer.
With all the excitement here at the Gardens, we may have neglected 3 other series which are underway tonight. And of course, there are 2 that are in the same situation here. But first, the Rangers 5 and the Flyers nothing. It looks as though the Rangers are going to take a 3-1 lead, but after what has happened in Toronto, you never know. Now, Boston has a chance to clinch, as the Canadiens do tonight. They lead 2-1 in the 3rd period. And the Islanders have a chance to wrap it up, and they're ahead of Chicago by a score of 2-1. That's in the 2nd period at Chicago Stadium. Well, Brian McFarland and Gary Dornhofer are used to this. We went through it twice last night, so some comments prior to the first overtime period from upstairs, please.
Well, here we go again, Gary. And if you believe that old saw about lightning striking twice, the Leafs had better watch out for Cam Connor.
Well, I'll tell you, though, there has to be a lot of enthusiasm in that Toronto Maple Leaf dressing room. 4-0, they came back to tie it. The excitement in the dressing room has to be just overwhelming. I've gone through that. I know the feeling. The thing that they have to be very aware of is that they don't start running around, the start of this overtime period, figuring they have to get a goal right away and get out of position, because Montreal will certainly capitalize on a situation like that.
Montreal's bound to be fired up, too. They realize they didn't play their best in that 3rd period, and they want to prove something here.
Well, as we mentioned before, Brian, very uncharacteristic of Montreal to blow a 4-goal lead, and I'm sure that Scotty Bowman had a few nice words to say about them, and you'll probably see Montreal go right to the attack, and we can expect something like we did last night.
I'm keeping my eye on them, and it looks like they're just about ready to play, so let's go back now to Bill Hewitt and overtime.
Okay, Brian, and we look at Scotty Bowman back of the Montreal bench as he prepares. Now we'll have a look at the summary of the 3rd period, which was all Maple Leafs. McKechnie at 13:29, Maloney at 13:58. Shots on goal, Toronto 14-10, and we're in overtime. As the Leafs clear the puck down the ice, it bounces to Dryden, and he holds it with Lanny McDonald right down there on his doorstep. Face-off will be in the Montreal zone to the left. As we have Pat Boutette, Darryl Sittler, Lanny McDonald, Selming, and Dave Burrows. All set to go. Jacques Lemaire out there with Guy Lafleur and Bob Gainey, Serge Savard, and Larry Robinson. Around to Lafleur, hopped by Burrows out to center ice, and is picked up there by Boutette. Getting it back over to Borja Selming. Selming is chased back. Selming waiting behind the net, not wanting to take any chances. Fleur up there looking for a loose puck, and it deflects into the crowd, and we'll have a face-off.
Brian, I just think that this game is going to end in the first 5 minutes. I just have that feeling that it's not going to go like it did last night.
Just looking over the Leaf record in overtime since 1967, when they won a thriller in 3 3 extra periods, I believe it was. They've been involved in 12 overtime games, won only 3.
It's Boria Soming giving it to Dave Burrows. Up it goes for Pat Flutet. Lemaire stopped it to Savard. Savard to Larry Robinson. Up for Lafleur. He shot the puck into the corner. Soming drives it around the boards again. This time it's Pat Flutet with Darryl Sittler. Coming down with Lanny McDonald. Sittler shoots. And that's gloved by Dryden and knocked into the corner. Lafleur shot it down the ice. And that's going over the red line, and that'll be icing.
One thing about Dryden, you know, he has a habit of, in that sudden death overtime, really coming up with his best saves, as we had noted last night.
He looked very good on that last drive. He played it in the classic style, getting in front of the puck and then getting the gloves, the stick, everything in front of it. Roger Nielsen and his counterpart, Scotty Bowman. He's been here many times before.
All set to go now. McKechnie, Maloney, and Ellis. The puck taken by Guy Lapointe. Shot it around on the boards. And it's out at center ice. Quenville lost the puck. Pierre Mondu tried to get to it. Lambert got it behind the net. Cleared around on the boards. It comes out. Caught Mondu a shot, and that just missed. Lambert's got it again for Montreal. Trying to center it. Walt McKechnie. Going with Turnbull to Maloney. And that is slapped right back. Well, he's trying to get out of their own end. Canadians forechecking. A long pass from McKechnie is going down the ice, right on the net. And Dryden gives it to Enzo. Enzo along up to Pierre Mondu. Mondu's pass on the right side. Closing in is Pierre Leroux. Goes to the blue line. Guy Lapointe trying to keep it in, and it rolls out. Maloney and Lapointe there outside the blue line.
The important thing for Lapointe on that play was to not let that puck slip behind him because there were 2 Leafs